All right, Combat Combo. You know what it is, man. Like, share,
Yeah,
subscribe to the page. Hit the thumbs up button if you like the content. Also, I see a lot of people in the when I look into the algorithms and all the good stuff, the data. I see people are watching the show, but they're not subscribed. So please subscribe. I mean, you're here already, so you might as well subscribe. All right. So, what we talking about today, man? UFC.
Alexander Volkov versus Islam Makhachev. I think I'm pronouncing the names right.
Makhachev, right? We done
Makhachev.
butchered these
Okay,
names. We done butchered these
fault.
names.
My fault. My
Yeah.
fault.
We done butchered these
I'll
names.
let you. I'll let you take the role first. You know what I mean, and then I give my take.
This fight kind of went the way I thought it was gonna go. Outside of the outcome of the fight, I had Alexander winning this fight. I think he did the most in the fight. I think that as far as like to be the bigger man in Islam, I don't see how he won that fight. He's supposed to have dominated that fight, and he didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like Alex, you know, he just did more in the fight for me, you know, and I think he won convincingly. It wasn't like, oh well, you know, he probably won maybe. Like, no, I think he literally won, especially the last 3 rounds. You know what I'm saying? First round, I would say it was up in the air. Maybe I would probably give it to Islam, but second round was debatable. But the last 3, nah, I gave the last 3 to his name. He only had him in danger one time, and it looked like he wasn't really even in danger when he had him in the choke. And it was like, what's that? Like, you ain't doing nothing to me. Like, that guy's good, man. That guy's good.
Yeah. Let me tell you, man. I was that camp that Israel's in is such a great camp of fighters. Let me just say that because these guys, man, are just on a different level of fighting. Alexander is something else, man. Like when I first heard about him, I was like, man, I was like, I just didn't know how well he would fare. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yo, if he's in a fight camp with Israel, then it's got to be something special about him.
Mm-hmm.
So I seen his first fights and I was just like, wow, this guy's intense. You know what I mean? Like very, very intense.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a barbarian or something, like a warrior. Like this guy's screaming, like he literally embodies what a mixed martial artist is supposed to be. So
Yeah.
going into this fight, I was very confident in his abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I figured the fight was gonna go down to a decision, because both of these guys are incredible. But I feel like Islam was supposed to like knock him out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like Islam was supposed to knock him out, and he didn't do that. And for Islam to even feel that he won the fight, I'm sorry, brother, you sadly mistaken. Alexander controlled majority of that fight. Um, Even in the second round, even though like is a give or take on the second round, I still gave it to Alexander on the second round. He noticed Alexander's power when Alexander did that punch and punched him in the chest, and then he backed up, and then he was like, whoa, like what I'm saying. And Alexander was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, boy, there's more where that came from.
Yeah.
And you could tell, he felt that. He felt that in his chest because he hit him pretty hard and he backed up against the gate. And he was like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? He could try to play it off all he wants to in the press conference and when they was interviewing him. Nah, bro. He caved your chest in pretty hard, man. And then like his what kept him in this fight, what kept Islam in this fight is his wrestling. You know what I'm saying? His
Mm-hmm.
takedowns. But the takedowns, even though he scored with the takedowns, they were weak. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't do nothing on the ground. He tried holding this man in all types of chokes. It did not work. Like how you gotta be some special type of fighter when somebody has you in a chokehold and you're screaming at them. Like, did you see that part where he had him in the I think it was a rear naked choke. He had him like this, and Alexander was like, and then he's hitting him from the he going like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yo, bro, this dude is crazy. I was cracking up. I was like, who does this, man? I was like, yo, man, this guy cannot lose this fight. If you that active on the floor, you cannot
Yeah,
lose this fight, man. Like, seriously, come on, judges.
yeah.
Are you kidding
Judges
me?
are
What
just.
was y'all looking at?
I don't.
What was y'all?
That's my thing, man. Like some of these judges, man. I don't know what they be seeing. And the crazy part is even the even the what's names be saying, like even like the announcers, like Joe Rogan said that Islam lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it, I don't know. Maybe that's an independent source, independent. The judges just independent from the actual UFC, but it's the same thing in boxing, man. Some of them judges, y'all be like, what the fuck fight was y'all watching? Now, don't get me wrong. Some judges score points differently from the way we score points, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. I look, and even in the rankings, they didn't even know how to rank Alexander after the fight because majority of people thought he won. It was just the judges that felt like he lost by like 2, 3 points. Majority of the people in the world thought he won. So what happens now? They share the number one spot. It's a tie at number one for pound per pound best fighter in the world. It's a tie now. It should not be a tie. Islam should go to like 2 or 3. Alexander should stay at number one. That's how
Yeah,
I look at it.
I
I mean,
I don't see. I don't know. I guess if we gonna go off of records, that's why the reason why Islam would be tied at number one. But I don't know, man. I don't know. He still gotta deal with Charles again.
yeah, they're saying they I don't think it's so much the record because if they were going off a record, then and then I feel like Izzy would be higher in the rankings. He'll be higher. I don't know, like I don't know how they judge it because when I looked at the standings, it didn't um it didn't look like record because Izzy clearly has one of the better records in the UFC. He only lost one time,
Twice.
so he clearly because he lost. Well, he lost twice in UFC. He lost once in
No, he lost
that
twice in the
other
UFC.
in the UFC. Izzy,
Yeah.
who did he lose to?
He lost to that short dude.
What short guy?
This was like when during the pandemic.
Huh?
During the pandemic, they had a
Oh, you mean the in when he tried to step up weight class? Yeah, okay, all right, so he lost 2 fights. He lost two
yeah he had
fights.
two he had two
I'm looking at his weight class. I'm not.
yeah
I wasn't even paying attention to the other class. Yeah. Okay, so he lost 2 fights. All right, but I still feel like Izzy should have been a little bit higher in the ranking. I think they had Izzy at number 4. It was like number 4 or number 5. They had Usman. I think I seen Usman at number 3. Usman, it was either number 3 or number 4. One of them two. I gotta look at it again, but I feel like Izzy should have been a little bit higher than that. You know what I mean? But that's
that's what I'm
besides the
saying
point.
like you go up so they can't be going by records because Alexander has 2 losses,
Yeah, that's what.
and he's number one. What's his
Mm-hmm.
name has 1 loss, and he's tied at number one. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
Izzy or whoever's number two. Who would be number two? Who's number two?
I gotta look at it again. I didn't. I
Well,
gotta look
Izzy's
at it
number
again.
three, and then Usman is number four. But Usman only has
Mhm.
1 loss. You get what I'm
So
saying?
I don't know what they're going off of. I don't know what type of ranking system they're going off of, because they're definitely not going off the records. So I don't. I'm not necessarily sure. You know,
Yeah, they going.
because if they're going off, huh?
They tallying in a bunch of stuff up because I know that Whitney has the longest winning streak now. So Charles Oliveira has the longest submission streak. Well, he actually had the longest winning streak too because he submitted. I think he was going on 11 submissions or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, or 12 in a row. So that's 12 wins in a row. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when he lost to Islam. Islam was going on a 9 winning streak or 10 winning streak or something, or 11
Okay.
or something. He was on his 11th winning streak too, but not submissions, just wins. And now he has the most wins, simultaneous wins in UFC history because he beat this guy. So he beat Alexander. So now he has 12. But the longest running submission winning streak is Charles Oliveira. Um, but then you have, I don't even know where he would rank, where Charles is ranked at. Because at one point he was the best in the world, but now I don't know where he's ranked at. I don't know where Justin Poirier is ranked at either on that list. I don't know where Justin Gaethje's ranked at on that list.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what O'Malley is ranked on that list. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I would have to see the list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
yeah, it is.
So I don't know.
Like I said, man, I stand on what I said. Alexander definitely won that fight, hands down. I felt like he got robbed. That's another thing too, man. Like, I feel like okay, I feel like if you're that great to take a person down, take a person off their feet, then you should be even better when it comes to submitting them on the ground or ground and pounding as far as putting them away. And like, I seen none of that from Islam. I seen none of that. I seen that he's a terrific wrestler and he's able to get his opponents off their feet, but I did not see him capitalize on the times when he might have been able to get Alexander out of there. He didn't capitalize on it. And one of the reasons why, because Alexander just was too active on that ground. He was too active. Like, he could not, his defense on the ground is great. Like, he literally blocked everything that Islam was trying to do as far as submitting him,
Mm-hmm.
because he couldn't ground and pound him because Alexander was moving too much. He couldn't submit him because he was blocking his arms. And then on top of that, he's swinging back at him. His other arm is free, so he's swinging back at him. So how, like, I don't understand how the judges can, you know, well, you
No,
know
man.
what?
I guess it goes by who's in control in their eyes, even though he's on the ground.
But he wasn't really in control. Like, to me, in control of a fight on the ground means you got full control. Like, you got this guy on lock. He cannot do nothing.
But
He didn't
they
have
look at it
control.
like if you take his back, that's control. Even though I disagree with that, but that's how they look at it. If somebody takes your back, they're in control because they're so used to people getting submitted that way. So if someone takes your back, they feel as though that person is in control of the fight now. You know what I'm saying? And I don't agree with that. I don't think that just because you take somebody back doesn't mean you're in control. Like, it might seem that way, but that don't always mean that.
Man, listen, I uh I agree with you, because you could take somebody's back all day. That doesn't mean you have control of the fight. I definitely think UFC need to look into those rules a little bit more. It might change them, because You could take somebody's back all day, does not mean you have control of the fight. Control of the fight should mean that you got full control over the fighter that you done took down, and you are able to control where his arms is going. He can't kick you, he can't punch you, he can't do nothing because you have fully mounted him and or submitted him or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I think they need to change because this is ridiculous. Like he had no control of that fight on the ground, and
Uh,
he barely could contain them when they were standing up.
he's
So
Islam's standing game ain't that good. Like he's not that good. It just depends on he definitely is great on the ground, but his standing game is not that great. But either
no,
way,
I didn't see it being that great neither. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad neither. Like his striking is pretty decent. It's not, but I don't feel like it's better than Alexander's though. Alexander's was more accurate with his striking. He connected majority of the time when he was throwing his punches. And when Islam was counter punching, he got a few in there, but that's because of his length. Like Islam gotta be what I don't know, like almost 6 feet, maybe 6 feet tall. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So like he had a good length on Alexander, and that's why I feel like he should have won. He should have beat him. If you're that good, you should have beat him, and you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, he was tagging him at certain times and kept him at a distance. So a lot of times when Alexander was trying to like get in there, it was hard. But when he did get in there, he felt that power. You
yeah.
know, so
Hey man, you know what it is, man. Combat combo, man.
yeah.
Yeah, Alexander and Islam.